Hello and welcome to the O. And today we have a very special episode sponsored by our good friends at the Teen Mental Health Initiative Club.
They are hosting a drive-in movie night this Saturday. Reserve a ticket by going to their Instagram page at WHS_TMHI and use the link in their bio. Tickets are sold by car. Make sure to reserve your ticket now as it ends this Friday.
They're going to be showing Ferris Bueller's Day Off at 6 o'clock and Top Gun Maverick at 8 o'clock. Make sure to go check it out.
Now, Top Gun Maverick, I just saw this movie over the summer in the theaters, and I really like this movie. I saw the first Top Gun. I thought it was a pretty good movie, but one thing that I always felt lacked a little bit in that movie was some of the action sequences. They just seemed kind of choppy, and I get it was the 80s. I didn't really have the effects to do like a cohesive action scene, but this new Top Gun really benefits from, like CGI and stuff that Hollywood can do nowadays, because there's some really cool action sequences, especially later in this movie.
I think Tom Cruise, having him in a movie is just automatically makes it great. He does a lot of his scenes, for real. So I think it's definitely worth to check out the new one.
Definitely, especially since, like you said, really doing things. The actors are in jets for a lot of the scenes, I think, like really actually cool. In flying jets.
Yeah, and at 6 o'clock is Ferris Bueller. I'm personally very excited about that. I've seen that movie about 10 times, and it really just never gets old. Ferris Bueller is just a hilarious character, and there's so many great moments like the Ferrari crashing scene and the parade scene towards the end of the movie. Just one of my favorite personal comedy movies of all time.
Who's your favorite character? I think Cameron easily tops it off there.
I think Cameron's probably my favorite as well.
So speaking of those two great movies that's going to be showing this Saturday, what are some other movies that you suggest to our viewers?
So I think a movie that's great for a good movie night is Kung Fu Panda. I know this is a kids movie, and it's a fun kids movie. It's great to make everyone laugh from like ages like 5 to as old as you can really get. But it's also I think much deeper than you'd really anticipate. It's a really good story about determination and about believing in yourself. And I think the scene where Oogway ascends is one of the greatest scenes of all time in movie history. Might be a bit of a hot take, but I think it's really up there. And Hans Zimmer's music adds so much to the movie. It's definitely a must-watch.
That's also a great movie suggestion. I think Forrest Gump would be one of mine. And if you have not seen Forrest Gump, you have to. It follows the life of a kid in Alabama who just goes through all sorts of time spans and famous events, and it's kind of hard to describe, but it's just such an iconic movie. I think Tom Hanks is the actor in that one. He just really does a great job.
Speaking of great movies, this one's a bit of a long watch, but I couldn't do this without recommending my absolute favorite movie of all time, The Godfather. It is 3 hours long, but it's a great 3 hours. It is honestly probably one of the best movies ever made, if not the best movie ever made. Great acting, great music. It's a great story. It's a little bit of it's a little bit more of an involved watch. You can't just turn your brain off and watch it, but it's a very good movie. I would definitely highly recommend it.
Yeah, so speaking of long movies that are definitely worth it, I'm going to talk about my personal favorite movie of all time, Interstellar. I think that movie is perfect. Matthew McConaughey is the lead actor. He is incredible in that movie, and the story, the way it unfolds is just so. It's really, it keeps you on the edge of your seat at all times, and it's a little bit confusing. Similar to The Godfather, you have to pay attention, really kind of make sure you're following a lot of details, but it is absolutely worth it in the end. And I think once again, Hans Zimmer's music adds so much to the movie.
So I recently watched Interstellar, and I thought it was a really interesting movie. I really did. I think I was definitely confused at points, though.
Definitely a mind bender.
I think I'll have to watch it a couple more times to fully grasp it a little more.
Yeah, I've watched it 3 times now, and the thing I really like about it is every time you watch it, you get something new about it, and it makes it even better.
I totally agree. Another movie I will suggest is kind of 2 here. One on the business side, one more on the sports side. On the sports side, I watched Moneyball many, many times, and I highly recommend it. Especially follows the Athletics, which is an MLB team, and about how the GM, Brad Pitt, and his associate, Jonah Hill, have to kind of revamp and find a new way to win games when they don't have money. And the other movie was Social Network. It's basically the upbringing of Facebook with Mark Zuckerberg and how that panned out, which is really interesting. So, yeah.
Sorry. The next movie that I want to talk about is Back to the Future. And This is like one of the most fun movies that I've ever watched. Like I love Back to the Future. Whatever it is on, this is one of the few movies where if I turn the TV on and this movie's on a channel, I will just switch that channel and I'll just watch the movie all the way through. I love this movie. I especially love Biff, my favorite character. I just think he's a real funny guy.
Any favorite quotes you got in that movie?
Biff, hello McFly.
Yeah, Biff's for sure a great character.
So my final choice, I decided to go with a more underrated movie I think deserves more appreciation. It's called The Prestige. It follows these two battling magicians in the early 1900s, played by Christian Bale and Hugh Jackman, and it's an incredible rivalry to watch. The lengths that the two characters will go to attack each other are quite extraordinary, and it's very like similar to Interstellar. You know, it's a bit of a mind bender, and the ending is one of the best endings of a movie. I won't spoil it, obviously. One of the best endings to a movie I've ever seen. Definitely a must watch in my opinion.
Just based off of the movies you're recommending, have you watched Inception before?
I have watched
Oh,
Inception. Christopher Nolan is, as you can probably tell, is my favorite director. Anything he does, he's also done The Dark Knight. Anything he does is amazing in my opinion.
I agree. Another movie I'll recommend is Life of Pi. If you have not seen this movie, it's an interesting movie to say the least, but I think it's a really great movie. I think it won Best Picture as well in 2014, I believe. It's basically just follows the life of a kid who's from India, and he travels to America, and a ship wrecks, and his father had a zoo that had a bunch of animals on board, and he basically, I don't want to spoil too much, but he just survives that sea, and it's a really interesting story.
So I actually haven't seen it, but I'll be sure to put it at the top of my movie list.
And if I had to make one final recommendation, I would say Step Brothers, starring Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly.
A classic.
Probably the funniest movie I've ever watched. That movie was hilarious.
Well, those are some great suggestions, guys. To all our viewers out there, make sure to check out the Teen Mental Health Initiative's movie night this Saturday. But be sure to grab the tickets quickly because they end this Friday.
This has been
The
O.